Hello, good morning to all. Am I audible to all? Am I audible, Dr. Shubha, madam?
Yes,
Am I
sir,
audible?
yeah, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, madam. Hello, my dear students. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay, okay. So it is the third day of Prabodhana 2020, which is a national level webinar series on Padartha Vignyana, where eminent speakers from different parts of the country are sharing their views with respect to specific point mentioned in the subject Padartha Vignyana. So it is the third day. So to maintain this session, we are having Dr. Shubha madam with us. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Santosh Kulkarni, working as a professor in SJG Ayurvedic Medical College and also teaching Padartha Vignyana to the students. So I welcome you, madam, for our session. And let me introduce today's speaker, Dr. Shubha M. She is working as an associate professor in Munyal Ayurveda Medical College, Manipal, Udupi, and Madam has completed her PG from Alva Ayurvedic Medical College, Mudubidre, and she has 8 years of teaching experience. And Madam has also completed her PG diploma in yoga from Gujarat Ayurveda University, and Madam is also working as a consultant for yoga and osteopathy in different hospitals. And more interesting is Madam is also author of the textbook of Padartha Vignyana, which is published by Chowkamba publication. So with this brief introduction, I welcome Shubha Madam to our session. So over to Shubha Madam.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the introduction. And I'm thankful to all of you for giving me the chance to speak on this particular topic. Actually, Guna is a very beautiful topic. It comes among the Shat Padarthas, as all of you know about it. So starting with the topic, so the importance of Guna among the layman. So if you see Gunaha Bhushayatehi Rupam, so Guna is the one which gives you a Rupa, which gives you a likeliness. So something in your property within you can take you towards someone liking you or someone not liking you, something being liked or not. So this topic Guna, if you're seeing it in Charaka, it's very beautifully put as Samanyam cha Vishesham cha Gunan Dravyani Karmacha. So if you see the Gunan, where it is placed. So it is placed after the Samanya as well as Vishesha, because Charaka was more oriented with the Chikitsa purpose. So he has placed the Guna. Once you understand the Samanya and the Vishesha, you have to give the line of treatment with respect to the dravyas, and for those dravyas you require the particular Guna. So coming under the Shat Padarthas, you can say it is placed in the third place along with the Samavayi Sambandha of Guna along with the dravya as well as the karmas. So I'll be sharing with you a PPT. So we'll go on to the PPT. So I think the PPT is visible to all of you.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam. It's visible.
Okay, yes. So as we have started with the one among the Shat Padarthas, the Gunas, which is very much related to the Karya Karana Siddhanta. I think by now the students would be knowing what is the Karya Karana Siddhanta, because everything in Chikitsa is being dealt with the Karana. So you have a Karana, whether it is for the Arogya or whether it is the Karana for the Roga, right? And this is the Hetus. The Hetus or the Karanas will result in a Karya. So you're giving the Chikitsa, that is the Karya which is given. So the Karya Karana Siddhanta holds good on the basis of the Shat Padarthas, in which you see the Gunas to be having a very important place, right? So a Dravya will always have the presence of a Guna. Whatever might be the Dravya, it will have the presence of the Guna. And Guna is hidden. It's always a hidden form. You cannot, it is visible in the form of a Dravya, or it is visible in the form of an action, that is in the form of a karma. So therefore, you have the definition here as Gaunatvat Gunaha, right? So you have the definition here as Gaunatva, that which is hidden, right? So in the Dravya, either you're seeing the entire Dravya, and this is, or its action is being noted in the form of the Guna, right? So you are visualizing it in the form of a karma. That is a Cheshta one. So you have the another definition is Cheshta Karanam. So it is present, it is responsible for the Cheshta. That is, it is responsible for any of the karmas, of any of the actions, but it itself is hidden. You cannot see it, right? So now coming to the lame language, you have two definitions, that is Amantriyate as well as Badhyate. Right, so you all know the Niruktis. I'm not reading the particular shlokas. You should know the word. What is Amantriyate and what is Badhyate, right? So Amantriyate, see, as I said in the beginning itself, Gunaha Bhushayate Rupam. So to a lame man, if you're going to say the Gunas, how will you say? See, when you're saying with respect to a person, in Kannada, if you say, yes, ಇವನ ಗುಣ ಬಾರಿ ಚೆಲುವಿದೆ, ಅವನ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅಥವಾ ನಂಗೆ ಅವನ ಸಂಗತಿ ಬೇಕು, right? So you want his friendship. Or you see a particular thing, that's again a rupa, you see a particular thing, you like it as a soft material, or you like the texture of it, and you go and purchase it, right? So that is amantrana, where there is an invitation. Or your address, see, you are giving using adjectives. She is a good person, right? And this gives me happiness. Happiness, if you're seeing sukha dukha, it also comes under the gunas. Now, if you say something is heavy, this object is heavy, this object is light. So you're holding a stone and saying, yes, it's so heavy. Or you're having a bag which is of 10 kgs and says, my bag is very heavy, right? So you're addressing a particular thing with respect to the adjectives. That is amantriyate. So that which provides an invitation, either you're moving towards it or you're going away from it. Sometimes the gunas may also be such that you may not like it and you may move away. So any reaction is being got because of this particular guna. So that is why he says loka anena. So this is the one which attracts you towards a particular thing, or which will make you move away from that particular thing. The next one you have is the badhyate. The badhyate is the binding. So as we have already seen, with respect to a dravya, there is a binding which is in a samavaya sambandha, which cannot be broken at all. And with respect to it, you're doing the karmas. You might be a soft person, but your soft guna in you, the mrudu guna in you, is understood as you speak softly, as you are not harsh with others. So that is a binding. There is a binding with each and everything. There is a binding with the dravya. There is a binding with the karmas. Okay. So you have these two definitions, amantrana and badhyata. There's one thing called abhyasa. This is especially for a lame person. In a lame person, or for a person, if you're saying with respect to a person, certain habits you are learning from a younger age itself, right? You are being practiced, or you are practicing such a combination. That means maybe with respect to the person, it is a character of a person. You're being molded from a young age, how you should speak, right? So that becomes your guna. So that is an abhyasa. And if you see abhyasa, again, it comes in your gunas, Paradi Gunas. You have seen the abhyasa even while preparing things. If you have prepared a particular thing once, repeatedly when you prepare a particular thing, you're having the abhyasa, it becomes a guna, it becomes embedded within you, right? So that which becomes embedded with yourself or with a dravya, you're also a dravya, so which becomes embedded within one, becomes a habit or a practice. So you can see the three important niruktis with respect to the particular gunas. Coming on to the other slide. So generally, when we are speaking of aushadas, we speak, or aharas, we speak with respect to the rasas, with respect to virya as well as vipaka. I think you know the meaning of all of this. So rasas, they are madhura, all the 6 rasas, which again comes with respect to the gunas, which we'll be dealing in the later slides. Virya, when you're saying, again, you are saying it as Shita or Ushna. Vipaka, which you are also saying, though it is the Madhura Amla Vipaka which you're speaking about, you also speak about a Guru Vipaka or a Laghu Vipaka, right? So you speak again based on the gunas. So it is very easily accessible when you're speaking in the form of Rasa, Virya, or Vipaka, but likewise, if you're speaking the gunas, sometimes it becomes very difficult to understand it because most of the time they are synced with our senses. When you're going to read regarding the Artha Gunas, you will be knowing how they are synced to our senses. So just a small example. So you're dealing with the Shita and Ushna. How will you understand whether the thing is Shita or Ushna? Generally, it is through the touch. I'm using the word generally. So generally, it is through the touch, that is the Sparshanendriya. And you're going through the another guna, that is the Snigdha as well as Ruksha, and which is generally through the eyes or the Chakshurindriya. Okay. And now what you have seen is the Gurvadi Gunas and all the 41 Gunas, which we're going to see later again. Guna can also be a quality. As I had said you regarding a person, where we say the quality of a particular person. This quality in Ayurveda, you have studied it in the form of Chikitsa Chatushpada, the Bishat Adi Gunas, right? So you have the 4 padas, each one having 4 gunas. So that also can be seen as a gunas because that has to be incorporated, right? So that is the amantrana or the badhyata, which is seen with the respective padas. So the next is the properties as the Gurvadi Gunas. Coming on to the Guna Bhedas. So you have seen it. There are 41 Guna Bhedas in which you can classify these 41 gunas under the parameters of Adhibhautika as well as the Adhyatmika. The word Adhibhautika, see Bhautika is Bhutaja, so that which is related to the material world. So you have the 3 classifications which come under the Adhibhautika, such as the Sa-Artha, Gurvadi as well as the Paradi. Adhyatmika is the one which takes you on to a spiritual level. So your Atmadi Gunas are related to the Adhyatmika level. So we'll go on to the first one now, that is the Sa-Artha or the Vaiseṣika. So as students of Ayurveda, as undergraduate students, see, you are studying Padartha Vijnana. Most of the time you study Ashtanga comparatively to Padartha Vijnana. Ashtanga feels a bliss. So it is very easy to understand. And Sharira Rachana, Sharira Kriya is also very easy. I mean, I don't say it's easy to understand, but you can relate it with it because you have studied some part of it in your schooling classes. Then the question comes, okay, Sanskrit also you can understand because Ayurveda is related to the Sanskrit subject, so you need Sanskrit. The question comes, why Padartha Vijnana? This is a common question which most of the students of first year, which I have come across, they ask, why have we go to study Padartha Vijnana? Why is it so important? So from the first year itself, you have to develop the habit of asking a question, why? See, as we have seen gunas, you are learning Padartha Vijnana in a basic level and you are going to incorporate it as you're studying Ashtanga or as you're reading Charaka or the other Samhitas or the principles of Ayurveda. As we have seen in the first slide itself, you are seeing it with respect to Karya as well as Karana, which is the base for the Chikitsa. If you don't understand any of these Padarthas, the Shat Padarthas, you can't understand the Chikitsa, right? So that is the reason why a base is being put. So this base is provided by the entire Padartha Vijnana. And now coming to the topic, if we are dealing with sa artha, so as I said, you should always ask the question. As you're writing in your papers also, you should write it as why. Why is it named sa artha? Why is it named Vaiseṣika? It's very easy. The moment you break the words, you come to know the meaning of it. So when you're breaking the word sa artha, artha are the vishayas, the objects of perception, right? So how are the objects of perceptions attained? Through your jnanendriyas. Of course, karmendriyas are also there. You have the atindriya, that is the manas, or the upayendriya, which is also there. But basically, if you see, it is the jnanendriyas. So that is why you have the indriya vishayas. And that's why the name also has come as Vaiseṣika. Along with the vishayas, what you're able to perceive through the indriyas, that comes as why. That is why the name Sa Artha Gunas or the Vaiseṣika Gunas. And these are 5 based on the individual Mahabhutas. So the points to be pondering, or what are the points you're supposed to write in your papers as you're dealing with the Padartha, as you're dealing with the Sa Artha. So this can come as a separate question in your papers. So you have studied it. When you're writing it in your papers for each of the particular gunas, the Sa Artha Gunas, you are supposed to write the Mahabhutas. Which Mahabhuta it is related to? How are they perceived? If there are any types, what are the different types? Finally, in Ayurveda, you're understanding it in the form of parikshas. So what are the parikshas related by which you can get it? Through these particular indriyas or through these particular gunas. The first one is the Shabda. So I have not put the Mahabhutas and all that in the slides since you already know about this. So if you're speaking on the Shabda, which is perceived through the ears, and if you're speaking with respect to a Mahabhuta, you know the Shabda is the quality of an Akasha Mahabhuta, and it is perceived through the Shrotrindriya. Now, Shabdas can be, if you now we'll go on to the particular points. I'm just highlighting the certain points which has to be written in your papers, other than the points which were to be pondered and which are to be written in your papers. So you have the 2 types of Shabdas. The Varnyatmaka Shabdas as well as the Dhvanyatmaka Shabdas. Varnyatmaka Shabdas, I'm speaking with you, right? You're able to hear me in the form of sentences, in the form of words, which form a sentence. Bhashita, right? So now someone is singing. Now this is also audible to you. So it is also in the form of some words or varnas, because you have the Shabda Lipi there for the Gita. Again, it comes under Varnatmaka. You're speaking in a Vishpa, which is not very audible, but still there are words which are being formed, forming a sentence. So again, it comes in the Varnyatmaka. So where Varnas are there and where you're forming a Vakya, it comes as a Varnyatmaka, right? The language which you can understand. That comes as Varnyatmaka. And for Varnyatmaka, you can see the different types of other Shabdas, that is the Drishtata, Adrishtata, Satya, as well as Anrita, which I think you've all studied this. It also comes under the Shabda, which is also included in Aptopadesha. The next form of sound is the Dhvanyatmaka. I'm making a sound, I'm tapping, or I'm clapping my hands. You're beating an instrument. You're playing veena, or violin, or guitar, right? So you're able to hear those particular sounds also. That is the Dhvanyatmaka. So you're clapping, or you're tapping, or you're playing some musical instruments. All that comes under your Dhvanyatmaka, right? Now, both of this, if you're seeing with respect to the vocabulary or with respect to the sounds coming from instruments, they are Kshanika. The moment that sound is stopped, you will not be able to hear it. So it is considered to be the Kshanika Jnana. As you're speaking or as you're singing, you can see there are 8 areas from where the sound comes out, such as the Nasika, Kanta, Osha, Talu, Jiva, Mula, Shitaha, Dantaha, as well as Udaha, right? So the different areas, even in modern science, you say the sounds, each letter, each vowel, each consonant comes out from the different areas of your body, right? So that is how the words are being pronounced. There is a method in which the sound is being produced, another method. There is a Vichi Taranga Nyaya as well as a Kadamba Pushpa Nyaya. So the sound transverses in the form of a transverse transmission, or it goes in a 3-dimensional transmission, such as an echo. So that is where you're having the Vichi Taranga. So you produce a sound Now it moves in the form of waves and reaches up to your ears. That is a Vichi Taranganyaya, or it goes as a circle and produces an echo type of sound, which comes under the Kadamba Pushpanyaya, right? So you have the sounds which are produced in a transverse manner or a three-dimensional transmission. So sounds are produced in any manner. Either it is reaching your ear in a wave-like pattern or is reaching to your ear in a circle-like pattern. In Ayurveda, you're using the Shabda Pariksha, which comes under your Pratyaksha Pramana or Pratyaksha Pariksha, is through the auscultation sounds, because of course auscultation is the present interventions. That's why I put up auscultation first, because most of us are now friendly with the present system of medicines. So auscultation, you're hearing the different sounds with respect to your heart. You keep it at the abdomen, you'll be hearing the abdominal sounds. You keep your hand on the chest, you can hear the chest sounds also. You can hear the chest sounds when a person is coughing, such as rhonchi or crepitations. So different sounds you can see. When a person is walking, sometimes you can see there are some crooks which are coming from his joints. So all this is understood. So you understand. See, for a Vaidya, it's very important because each sound gives him an intimation. Maybe it is of Arogya or maybe it is of Aroga, right? Of Roga. So this is being understood through your Shabda Pariksha. There's lots to explain on it, but for first years, this much is sufficient. Then you have the next one, that is the Sparsha. This is a very beautiful topic, the Sparsha. Basically, if you see Sparsha, again, I'm not dealing with the Mahabhutas. You know, it is of the Vayu Mahabhuta and it is perceived by through the skin. What are the sensations you feel? Cold, hot, neither cold nor hot. So Shita, Ushna, Anushna, Shita, right? Now, very important for Sparsha is, and many times it is considered to be the most superior among all the different the Indriya Vishayas, because all the Indriyas have followed the principle of Sparsha. That's why you can say Indriya Samsparsha. See, if you're visualizing something, that object should touch your pupil. If you're smelling something, that smell, the waves of the smell should touch your Granendriya. Same thing with respect to your ears, right? You're able to hear something, there is a wave which produces and it touches your Shravanendriya, right? So Indriya Sparsha, it is not only with the skin. Of course, the skin might be present everywhere, but for everything, you require the Samsparsha, if you got to understand it. Even Manasa, you're sad, you're happy, you're excited. So that should be felt. What we see as feel. What do you feel? It has touched me. I feel this. This is the Manasa Samsparsha, what you're feeling. So you can see that Sparsha among all the Indriyas can be considered to be more superior. And with respect to Pariksha, again Sparshana Pariksha, you have studied among the Trivida Parikshas, Darshana, Sparshana as well as Prashna. Sparshana plays a very important role. Through the Sparshana Pariksha, the palpation comes under that. You can understand the temperature of a person. You can understand or read the pulse of a person, whether there is a swelling and how is the swelling. It's the shape of it, whether it is round, whether it is loosely attached, it is firmly attached, whether there are lymph node enlargements, etc. So many things are understood through the Sparshana Pariksha. Right? So coming on to the next one, the Rupa. So coming in brief, so all of you know regarding the Rupa. So Rupa is by which you are visualizing through the eyes, the Chakshugrahyam, and Agni is very much required for the perception through the eyes. You have basically 7 colors. So of course you are seeing a mixture of it generally. So Chitra is a mixture combination, not just with respect to the colors. You have the shape, size also understood in the form of Rupa. And in Ayurveda, as you're using it for the clinical aspect or the applied aspect of it, you're using it as a Darshana Pariksha, again, which comes in your Trivida Pariksha, where you're noticing the different colors, you're noticing the change in their guide, the manner in which he or she is walking, the different disease diagnosis also many times you are seeing based on the different rupas, what you're visualizing in a particular person. You go to the next, that is the Rasa, where there is a Rasana Grahya. Whenever you say rasa, we remember the taste, right? So 6 tastes. all of you know regarding the 6 days, Madhuramla Lavana Katutikta Kashaya. There is the 6 days, and you have got an entire chapter dedicated to this respective days and how it is helpful for the dosha vriddhi or the dosha kshaya, starting from the first chapter of Ashtanga till you have got the 10th chapter. So you will be seeing a lot regarding the rasa, your ahara or aushadha. Everything is based on these shat rasas itself. Rasa vikalpa, where you're take it, is also explained in your particular chapter, right? So when it is coming, of course, when you're seeing with the pharmacological side, it is how you're preparing the medications, which rasas are to be used, and what is this aushadhi based on which what rasas should be given, etc., is coming in a pharmacological as well as a clinical side. Whereas if you have got to do a pariksha, it does not come under pratyaksha, because you cannot lick a person, you cannot lick a thing, right? So you are using the anumana pariksha here. So here you are using the anumana pariksha. This anumana pariksha lets you know whether there is the sharira madhuryata or whether there is a sharira vairasyata, right? So if the insects are moving towards a person, you assess, yes, he might be suffering from madhumeha because his body has become more sweet. That's why the insects are moving towards him. And if they are moving away from him, it shows about the virasata, right? So this comes under your rasajnana. The last one among the Artha Gunas is the Gandha, which is again a Grana Grahya. And generally, whenever you say with respect to the Gandha, you always say whether it's a good smell or a bad smell, right? Either it's a pleasant smell or it is a unpleasant smell. In Sushruta also, he has used two words, Sugandha as well as Durgandha, as separate gunas. He has brought it under the category of separate gunas, such as the Sugandha as well as the Durgandha, which probably can be included under the Surabhi as well as the Asurabhi. Gandha, especially, of course, you are smelling it differently, but when you are using it in a therapeutical aspect, you see it is given in the form of nasya. So you are taking it in the form of nasya. So as you're putting some drops to your nostril, blockage also of the shiras, because through the nostrils only you're removing the doshas from the shiras. As well as you can see there is a little difference, whatever the drops, what has been put to the nostrils, it gives a particular smell of that particular drops which you have intaken or which has been taken. Either it's Anu Tela or the Shatpundu Tela. With the dhupa, so chandana, you have lighted some agarbattis, chandana agarbatti, you will be getting that particular smell. Similarly with dhumapana. See, these all can improve your smell also. And also it removes the doshas, it removes the excess of kapha from the shiraha pradesha. And these are perceived through the granindriyas, the grana grahya. So this can be perceived through the grana grahya. Now, Gandha Pariksha also comes under the Pratyaksha Jnana, where in certain disorders, you get the smell. Very commonly, you see an obese person, you get the Durgandha in that particular person. Because of the Meda, excess of Meda, there is excess of Sweda, so there will be Durgandha. In different rogas, you will be either getting a Matsya Gandha, or you will be getting a Madhurya Gandha, which is emitting from his mouth or which is emitting from his Sharira, right? So this is where you're going to do the Gandha Pariksha. Even see, Gandha Pariksha can be done in Vrana. So all of you have suffered with abscess one time or the other. So you come to know that the abscess has separated. That means there is a pus collection is because of the smell. You can get a particular smell with respect to that abscess formation. That is with the pus formation, there is a typical smell of this pus. Gangrene, when you enter a room where a patient is suffering from gangrene, there is a smell. Right? So from far, even from outside, you can have an Anumana Pariksha or Anumana Jnana. Yes, there is a person who is suffering from a gangrene. Right? So this is got through the Gandha Pariksha. So that is how you're using it in an applied aspect. You're using it in your practices. Now coming on to the second, the classification of the Gunas, that is the Gurvadi Gunas. The Gurvadi Gunas, again, I always have this habit of asking why. So Gurvadi, the starting word is the Guru. That is why you have the Guru Adi, and Guru is placed first because this is the one which you visualize. This is the one you experience among all the Gunas. So that is why most probably it was placed first. And that is the reason why we say it as Gurvadi Gunas. You have the Samanya Gunas. They are also named as Samanya Gunas. because they are most commonly seen either in a dravya. All of us are dravyas. So even a purusha is a dravya. So it is seen within you also. It is seen in all your aharas. It is seen in all your aushadas. It is seen in the different viharas, whatever you're exposing yourself to the environment. So you are having the Gurvadi Gunas which are present. That is why the most commonly seen one are the Samanya Gunas. The next one is the Sharira Gunas. So they are called as Sharira Gunas because these 20 gunas are seen in your Sharira, and based on the ahara which you are intaking, each one gets a respective poshana, or that is a lekhana, that is it's being removed from your Sharira. So that is why you have the different names. Okay, so that is the reason why the question why has been said here. So these are the 20 types of Gurvadi Gunas. I'm not going into detail. You already know the opposites of each. You have the 10 gunas you have studied in Ashtanga first chapter, Ashtanga Hridaya first chapter itself. These are the Karmanya Gunas which were said by the Badanta Nagarjuna. So based on the karmas, even if you see the Viryas, we have these Viryas also, the Ashta Viryas, because they are the most Shreshta among all the different gunas, except for the Vishada and Pichila, which is not there. You have these as the Ashta Viryas also, because in the Sharira, most of your actions are explained in this pattern. So usually you're using the 8 gunas to understand most of your actions, and 2 more, Vishada and Pichila, has been added by Badanta Nagarjuna. That is why he says Karmanya, based on the karma, based on the action, you have these particular gunas. According to Sushruta, you have these particular gunas. There is a slight change. That is why you are supposed to highlight this, where Charaka has used Mrudu as well as Kathina. Sushruta has used the word Tikshna, maybe because he was more practical oriented, and it was with respect to the Shalya. That is why whenever he explained Mrudu, the opposite of it was the Tikshna, which was explained. And when he said Manda, where you have the Tikshna, in said by Charaka, Acharya Charaka, he has used the word Sara here. And when you have Shlakshana, where you have used the Khara, he has used the Karkasha. Whereas Karkasha and Khara are nearly the same meaning once, so that is why it's fine. He has added some more gunas such as Sugandha, Durgandha, Vyavahi, Vikasi, as well as Ashukari. So as you're writing regarding the gunas in your paper, you have to highlight especially the view is said by Charaka or Ashtanga, and the views which are said by Badanta Nagarjuna, said by Sushruta also, because each one are having its own importance. Now, the points to be pondered. What are the things you're going to see when you're dealing with these particular gunas? And it becomes very easy. When you're studying Gurvadi Gunas, 20 gunas, remembering all of them many times are very difficult. And for a 3 marks question, generally you will be getting Dvandva Gunas. Right? So for all, so when you're studying the Gurvadi Gunas, it's always better you study it in the form of Dvandva Gunas. So there are the points which you are supposed to know here. So you're looking into the main action or the definition of it. So which is said by Hemadri. It's a 1-line definition which you've already studied, such as for the Guru Guna, you have Adya Patanaha Samanam Gurutvam. So this is said by the Hemadri or Vaiseṣika Sutra or the Hemadri commentaries, Patana Karma Karanam. This is more easy. Patana Karma. He has said only 1 line with respect to its karma. Then the next point to be highlighted is the dominance of which Mahabhuta. To understand it very easily, we have got I've got a slide which is explained later, the last part of the Gurvadi Gunas. We'll see in that particular context. You have to understand it with respect to the doshik level, the dhatu level, as well as the mala level. Right? Now, to understand this, first of all, understand the dosh. See, it becomes very easy when you're understanding the doshik level gunas, when you're remember, when you recall the gunas of Vata, Pitta, as well as Kapha, right? So you have already by-hearted that shloka, and you know the gunas of Vata, such as Ruksha, Lagu, Shita, Kara, Sukshma, Chala, or the Pitta, Sasneha, Ushna, Tikshna, Lagu, Visram, Saram, Dravam. You already know that. So once you're able to remember it, you're able to understand each gunas, what happens with respect to their doshas. So it becomes quite easy to study. Then the action of malas, that we'll be seeing it later. And then you have the rasa virya vipaka. So this is general parameter. So for example, dravyas which are usually guru, which are usually, say I'm using the word usually, which are usually guru, have the madhura rasa, have the shita virya, have the madhura vipaka. Likewise, okay? Yes, I think it got disconnected in between. Am I audible now?
Yes, madam. Now you
Yes.
are audible, madam.
Okay. So we'll again continue.
Yes,
Yes.
madam.
So, right. So I'm not gone through the textbook. I've put a different view for the gunas. So you have got the textbooks where each the main action, the Mahabhuta dominant, the action of the doshas, dhatus, everything has been put in chart. So we're not dealing with it. Other than that, there are certain points which will help you to remember a particular point, and you can add those particular points as you're reading those particular gunas. So we'll just deal with the Guru and Lagu, coming to the first points. So as I said, whenever you're learning or whenever you're studying the gunas, see it in the parameter of Dvandva Gunas. So here the Dvandva Gunas are Guru as well as Lagu. And how will you perceive it? So first thing is how, generally, it is not always, generally how do you perceive it? Guru and Lagu is perceived through the eyes. You are visualizing it through the eyes. How? Hold a stone, hold a paper. One hand you're holding the stone, another hand you're holding a paper. Automatically you will say, yes, the one where you're holding the stone is heavy and the one where you're holding a paper is quite very light, right? Now you drop it. So patana karma, this is according to the definition. See, definitions also when you're by hearting it, just feel it. Just you have to imagine with certain examples. So here you can imagine now you're holding a stone, you're holding a paper. You can very easily imagine if you're throwing a stone, now a stone is quite big enough, directly it will fall on the ground, right? Whereas you throw a paper, somewhere it will fly. Of course, based on gravity, it has to come down, but it will fly somewhere and fall somewhere else, right? So that is where you're having the concept of Guru as well as Lagu. Of course, when you're seeing with Sharira, it is within your body. It is how you're seeing with respect to the action. But generally, if you've got to understand, so Loka Purusha, Samya, Siddhanta is there, where you're seeing with the Loka and understanding it with respect to the Purusha. Now, with respect to the foods, you have studied in Ashtanga, how much you're supposed to eat. When you're supposed, with respect to Ahara, when you have said, it is with respect to how you fill your stomach. Guru Ahara is generally said to be Ardha, Sauhitya. Whenever you're taking a Guru Ahara, eat to half of your capacity. And whenever you're Lagu, taking a Lagu Ahara, it should be na atihi triptikara. You should not be totally fully satiated, fully pleased, right? So that should not be also there. Now, the Gunas, you can also give with respect to the Shadvida Upakramas, where you have studied it in Langana Brahmaniya Adhyaya. So in that particular chapter, you have seen there are basically 6 types of chikitsa. So the Guru Ahara always brings about a Poshana. It brings about a Brahmana effect. It brings about, or the Lagu Ahara brings about a Langhana effect. So you're having the opposites of it. The definition of Lagu itself is Langhanena Lagu. So which brings about the Langhana effect. Now you have the others with respect to the Malas. Now something which is Guru, right? You have eaten a very heavy food. You've gone to functions and you've eaten a very heavy food, right? You have eaten a lot number of sweets, which are again having a Snigdha Guna as well as Guru Guna. What happens? Malas will be also produced more and you will be going to the washroom also more. So there is a Virechaka effect, right? Generally. Whereas Lagu, since Lagu always moves upwards, it brings about a Vamaka sort of effect. If you're seeing it with a systematic function, if you eat too much of Guru Ahara, it can result in many such disease conditions such as indigestion. And the Ama Pradoshaja Vyadhis are caused because of intake of Ati Matra Ahara. Your time, no functions are there. So whenever you're gone to any functions earlier, you have eaten up to your fill, right? We say we have eaten up to my kantha level. That means you've eaten up to your level full. So what do you feel after that? Drowsy, inactive. Before eating food, most of us can do so many works. But once you have a heavy meal, you don't feel like doing any of the work. So it also brings about exhaustion and fatigue, right? So if you eat too much of Guru Ahara. Whereas Lagu Ahara, it is very light to digest. It provides the energy. It provides the enthusiasm. So in this manner, if you're able to write more points, see, other than the textbook, we're adding some more points. Okay, so I'm not going through the examples. It's already there in the text, so you all can refer it. Now we'll go on to the next one, that is a Shita as well as Ushna, which is generally understood through the touch. You're perceiving it through the touch, right? You're going to the cold air, oh, it's so nice, it's cold. Right? You're going near to the beach, you feel the cold air and you say, yes, it's really cold. Whereas you go out in the hot sun and you say, yes, it's a hot breeze which is blowing. So usually you feel cold or hot based on the touch. Even by drinking, so all of you either drink cold water or you drink hot water, right? So immediately as you drink it, you feel whether it is cold or hot. There are certain examples with respect to food such as milk. This is generally cold, whether even you heat it, it has got the property of coolingness. Whereas the hot items have got a peculiar action, it improves your metabolic action. So also you have studied among the ahara vidhi, ushnam, ashniyat, have ushna ahara, have ahara which is freshly cooked, which is hot, because you're able to understand the rasa of it, right? So these are with respect to the foods. With respect to the dosha, dhatus, as well as the malas, we are putting all together here. With respect to the doshas, you have seen in the dosha gunas, it is there in the vata as well as the kapha, the shita, and ushna is generally seen in the pitta. So we're not going into it. So whenever you get exposed to a cold weather, a weather which is comfortable, not very cold weather, a weather which is comfortable to you, you feel a sort of pleasing effect. Especially in the hot season, the summer, you feel there is a haladana effect. There is a pleasing, a comforting sort of effect. So it reduces the heat. It reduces the paka. Whereas ushna is the one where we use in Svedana. When you expose yourself to hot sun, there is a Svedana. Atapa comes under Niragni Svedana. Or you're giving sa Agni Svedana. Any of this can be given. So this gradually, if it is more, it brings about a vitiation with respect to pitta as well as with respect to the rakta. Shita, since it provides more of ladana and all of those, it has got a more stambhana effect compared to the ushna, which provides a vidichaka effect. Right? So ushna jala, you drink ushna jala, what happens? Koshta shuddhi takes place. Right? So that is why you can say it brings an anulomana effect. Anulomana effect, also some of the dravyas which are ushna and tikshna has the property of vidichana. Shita reduces the body temperature. That's the reason why when a person is having fever, you put a cold template over his head, over his forehead, right? So it reduces the temperature of the body. And many times, I'm not saying excess cold, but many times it pleases a moderate cold where you can feel it, experience it. It provides a pleasing sort of feeling to the mind, to the manas, and it provides a ladana. Whereas all your Ushna Aushadas are generally having the qualities of Dipana as well as Pachana. With respect to your Manasika Vegas, you can see anger, Krodha increases the Ushnata with respect to your Sharira. So these are some of the systemic changes which you can note with respect to the Gunas. So in that manner, if you're able to study, it becomes very easy to understand. Yes, the last one in this particular slide is the Snigdha as well as Ruksha, the next very common one, which is again perceived through the touch. So Snigdha, you all have touched ghee, you have touched oil, right? So some of them have this habit when they've touched oil, they say, "Ee, I've touched oil, I've touched something which is sticky," right? Something which has got a greasy appearance. So that is the Snigdha. Whereas you want to have a Ruksha experience, go near a tree, touch the bark of the tree, a wood, or sometimes even the paper, or sand. It provides you a Ruksha sort of feeling, right? So this is how you're perceiving it through the touch. So you have the different types of Snigdha when you're coming to the therapeutical usage of it in the form of different foods. It is the 4 types of Sneha, which you have already studied again in Ashtanga. They are the Ghrita, Tela, Vasa as well as a Maja. And these are very important. Ghrita as well as Tela is given and it is used in your kitchens regularly because it has the property of healing and it binds the cells, binds the tissues. Right? So the Kledana effect is got because of the Snigdha, and Kledana is very much necessary because it provides the Bala to the Sharira. The different areas require the Bala. So that is provided by the Snigdha because Snigdha Amsha is to be present in your Sharira for the proper functioning of your Sharira, providing the proper smoothness to your Sharira, the Madhavata to the Sharira. Right? Even for Vrishyata, fertility also you require a good amount of Pramana of Snehana. Now how is the Snehana given? Snehana is taken either in the Bahi Parimarjana aspect or an Antaha Parimarjana aspect. Bahi Parimarjana aspect, you can give it in the form of Abhyanga or you can give it in the form of Nasya or Shirodhara or your the Tarpana, Akshitarpana, the eyes. So different areas you're providing the different forms of Snehana, which is given externally. Whereas you have in the form of Pana, in the form of Ahara, right? So you are intaking, putting it to different Aharas. What we usually do in our houses, we add a little grita to our foods. Whether you're making some sabji, whether some vegetables you're making, or with some curries for seasoning, you add a little amount of grita, you add a little amount of tela. Or for treatment purposes, you're using the snehana for the shodhana purpose as well as the shamana purpose. So it can be taken internally also, right? So generally it provides the bala as well as rupa to the particular sharira. Now, what about rukshana? Rukshana itself is a chikitsa. If you see among the Shadvidha Upakramas, the Shadvidha Kramas, you're seeing Rukshana as a chikitsa, which is very much again important when a person is suffering from Kafaja Rogas. When he is having too much of Medo Dhatu in him, it's too obese, you need a little amount of Rukshana chikitsa there. When there is ama in your Sharira, a little bit of Rukshana chikitsa is to be given. Now, Snehana, as you know, if you're taking Snehana, among the Samyak Snigdha Lakshanas, one of the quality is Anulomana. It brings about the Anuloma with what? With respect or with parameter with your Vata dosha. With respect to the Vata dosha, it brings about an Anulomana aspect. Whereas if you're seeing the Rukshana, it dries off. So what happens when it dries off? See, where water is wet, you're putting sand, it dries off the water. Right? Same thing happens in your Sharira. So Mala Bandhata is seen. So that is why I said you have to imagine what happens if I'm having something which is Rukshana. You imagine, you can write in your papers. So when you're seeing with respect to the functions, why Snehana is very important, you can see it improves the functioning of your musculoskeletal. So if you see all the synovial fluid, there is some amount of snigdhata, cerebrospinal fluid has got some amount of snigdhata. So kledhata, again, mucous glands provides a kledhata. So there's always a kledhana which is related to the snigdhata in your sharira. So the proper functioning of your musculoskeletal or the neuromuscular depends upon the snigdhata. Whereas you require the rukshana only when there is more amount of medas in your sharira. Otherwise, there will be dhatukshaya also. If too much of rukshana is given, it can result in dhatukshaya also. So similarly, we are having the different gunas, the Dvandva Gunas. So we are going on to the next, that is a Manda as well as the Tikshna Gunas. So you have the Manda as well as the Tikshna, which is a dull, and Tikshna where we are having sharp quality. So this is usually understood with virtue of action. You cannot understand it with virtue of touch. So usually in virtue of action. So wherever you require a Shamana activity, so Shamani Shakti, wherever the Shamana activity is there, a palliative activity is there, you have this Mandaguna. Whereas you want to go for Shodhana, then you will be going for the elimination, or then you will be going for the Tikshna Guna. Wherever Shodhana is required, elimination is required, wherever purification is required, you need something which penetrates. You need something which is sharp. That is got through the Tikshna Guna, right? So if you want to, like there is a Vrana, you want it to attain Paka, so you will be providing Ahara or the Viharas, which will increase the Paka. So it brings about aggravation. Tikshna Guna brings about the aggravation, brings about an increase with respect to the Paka. Whereas if you see the Manda Guna, you can see it here. So it increases the bulk of the body. Especially the Manda Guna is more related with the Mamsa as well as the Medavritti. Whereas if you are seeing with respect to the Tikshna Guna, you're seeing it as it brings about a Lekhana sort of effect. That means a scraping sort of effect is seen, especially with respect to the Meda as well as the Mamsa Dhatu, where you sometimes you might require the scraping to remove of the excess of the Meda as well as the Mamsa. So Tikshna Guna helps in the Virechana aspect. So as we have already seen with respect to Ushna, so it helps in the expulsion of the Mala. So you will be having an elimination with respect to the Tikshna Guna. And if you want to flare up an inflammation, or if you want to bring about a separation, your dravyas should be Ushna and Tikshna. That's why I said when you're bringing the doshas to the kosha and expelling out, you require something which is again having a quality of Ushna as well as Tikshna Guna. So this is how you're having the Gunas, Manda as well as Tikshna. Then coming to the next one is Thira and Sara. Sthira, the word sthira, whenever you say sthira, you imagine something which doesn't have any mobility. A mountain. Mountain is considered to be sthira, right? So now sthira, because of its immobility, it has the habit or it has its guna, such as withholding the things. It holds back the things, or it has the ability to support by giving or holding back the things, right? Where Prithvi is more dominant in. So therefore, you can see the Stambhaka Guna is more dominant in Sthira. Whereas in the case of Sara, since there is a mobility, it can be used or it is seen more in your purgatives. The purgatives or the laxatives have more of Sara Guna in it, whereas the Stambhaka Guna is seen, or the Stambhaka Dravyas have more of Sthira Guna in them. Right? So there might be an increase of tissues when you're giving Dravyas which are Sthira, such as the hair fall might be reduced, mushru or loma might be reduced and provides the good stability in the form of asthis. Whereas Sara Gunas are again very much necessary when you're having Apana Vata Dushti. So if you see Sara Guna, it's a Guna of Pitta. Also Chala and Sara is somewhat very similar. So Sara Guna provides a mobility, and this mobility is required for the Vata Anulomana. So when there is an Apana Vata Dushti, where you have problems with respect to the menstrual cycle, or you have sexual problems, or you are having constipation, such types of problems are there, then the Sara Guna Dravyas helps in the elimination. So that's why we had the word purgatives or laxatives. So it brings about the Vata Anulomana. So based on it, you have the Mala also. So the plus point in Sthira is especially when you're using it for the hemorrhagic. So since it has got a property of holding back, you can advise Dravyas which are having Sthira Guna dominant in the cases where there is more hemorrhages, or in diarrhea. Person is having a chronic diarrhea or is having a long flow diarrhea, you're giving him Sthira Guna Dravyas. Okay, so this is with the Sthira as well as the Sara. And then you have the next one, which is the Mrudu as well as the Kathina. So Mrudu and Kathina, if you see Kathina, it's very much similar to the Sthira, where there is a hardness or the stability, whereas Mrudu is the softness. And you have already studied in the Garbhaja Bhavas, there are many Mrudu Angas in your Sharira. So Mrudu Gunas, Ahara Dravyas, they provide Poshana to those Mrudu Angas. Whereas Kathina Dravyas in your Sharira, they are the bones and the teeth, they attain their nourishment from those Dravyas which are having Kathina quality. So Mrudu Guna Dravyas are generally very beneficial in arthritis condition or in a muscle spasm, right? So because some amount of looseness is required. So when Mrudu Guna Aharas are being intaken and soft Gunas or soft Dravyas are intaken, it softens your excreta, and also in arthritis condition, it's very beneficial, especially where the synovial fluid is very much reduced. So in such a condition, you might require the usage of the Mrudu Guna. So similarly, you have in brief, I'll be just dealing with in brief, the Vishada as well as the Pichila Guna. So what is the Vishada Guna? Vishada means clearness. So where something is being cleared off. So again, if you see Vishada Guna, Pichila can be experienced through touch, but Vishada Guna can be experienced only through the action. It's a Kshara. You are having a Kshara. So Kshara has the property of Tikshnata. So it helps in removing of the adhesiveness. Anywhere there is an adhesive, there is a stickiness somewhere, you are putting this, you're giving some dravyas which are having a Kshara Guna, it clears off the adhesiveness. Whereas Pichila, the name or the definition of it is Lepana. So Pichila is sticky. So it helps in the Lepana karma. Whereas Kshalana is a definition of, or there's a karma of Vishada Guna, so which is able to wash or clean. So therefore, if you want to remove some excess of fluidity from the tissues, to remove the excess of fluidity from the tissues, you have to use the dravyas which are Vishada. So you, of course, when you're studying Charaka, you will be seeing, especially the Chikitsa, you will be seeing the Kshara Prayoga in many of the Rogas, where you're supposed to remove off the excess of Kapha in the certain Rogas. So to remove off or to suck off the fluidity, to remove off the congestions, you require the Kshara Guna. Whereas if you're going to the Pichila Guna, you require it as a natural glue-like pattern for the purpose of jivana, for the purpose of balya, for the sandhana, that is especially when there is a fracture or when there is a dislocation, maybe with respect to ligaments, maybe with respect to the bones, somewhere you have to have a pichila guna yuktaha dravya. So same thing with respect to the malas, you can understand it. So when you're using it for the Vishada, when it is being used clinically, you can use it for the inflammation condition to remove that is to remove the slough. To remove the slough, you can use the Vishada Guna Yuktaha Dravyas. So in wound healing, sometimes it's recommended. In many of the Kaphaja Rogas or Amaja Rogas, you can go for Dravyas which are having the Kshalana, the Kshalana property, that is the Vishada property. Whereas Pichila, as we have already seen, since it brings about a Sandhana Kara, it brings about a binding action, it helps in joining the, or in the cases of fractures, you can use the Guna Dravyas which are having the Pichila Guna. So this is with respect to the Pichila as well as Vishada. Then coming to the next is Lakshana and Kara. In brief, if you have to see Lakshana and Kara, they are very much similar to the Vishada as well as the Pichila Gunas. Very much similar to the Manda as well as the, Vishada as well as the Pichila Gunas, and which can be perceived through touch. All of you can have perceived it. A smooth stone. You touch a smooth stone, you feel the smoothness of it. That is a Lakshana. And you see touch something which is very harsh, very dry, you get a very rough sandpaper. All of you have used a sandpaper to rub certain things to remove the oil stains. So you might use the sandpaper. When you touch the sandpaper, you get a feeling, that is a khara feeling, right? So again, Lakshana, many times if you see, it is having the quality of healing. Ropana Shakti. So the promoting the growth is a quality of the Shlakshana, whereas Khara has a quality of depleting, because the sandpaper, you know, what does it do? It does a Lekana Karma, right? So you want to remove all the oil stains, you rub against it. So it has a depleting or a Lekana action. So that is why the definition is Lekana Shakti. So Khara. So Khara is having a Lekana Shakti. So Khara, something is very much similar to the Vishada Guna. And Shlakshana, if you see, is having very much similar qualities to that of the Pichila Guna. The next very important, again, among all these gunas, the questions asked more are on Sukshma and Sthula, right? So Sthula, Sthira, something similar. Sukshma is something which cannot be perceived through the eyes. It's very minute, right? So certain dravyas have this property of Sukshmata, and this Sukshmata is the one which helps it to penetrate. Sukshmata is the one which has the ability to penetrate. Okay, so this penetrating quality is very much necessary in our medical science, because many diseases are caused because of the Shrota Avarodha. So when a dravya which is having a Sukshma Guna, you are giving a person this particular dravya, so you can see that it enters the minute channels and it removes the doshas, helps in removing out the doshas such wise, and the bulk of the tissues are also being reduced. Okay, so the excessive bulkiness is removed only because it can reach more deeper, right? So the Sukshma Guna Dravyas can reach more deeper. So such as Lavana, you add Lavana for most of your preparations, because Lavana has this property of Sukshma Guna and it can reach deep within, and it can remove the doshas by removing the obstruction, right? So by removing the obstruction, it can remove the doshas. Whereas you have the Sthula, where the bulkiness is being increased, and but it's also helpful, especially when a person is having constipation. It helps in the removal. Now there's only one more Dvandva Gunas which is remaining. That is the Sandra as well as a Drava. So Sandra is more of which is having a viscosity, whereas Drava is having more fluidity. Right, so we are using this again a lot in clinical practice, where you use a lot of drava. So something, if you're seeing butter can be given or as an example of sandra, and drava you can say it as jala. So you have a pipe, you put butter in one pipe and you put jala in one pipe. What happens with respect to the jala? So it will move very smoothly and very fast, clearing the entire pipe. Whereas in the cases of Navanita or the butter, it has a tendency to coat onto the sides of the pipe, right? So in that action, if you are going to see, then your Sandra Guna can bring about a vasoconstriction action, whereas the Drava Guna can bring about a vasodilatation action. So it avoids the congestion. It removes off. So Vilodana Shakti, that means it has the ability to dissolve and remove off the, if it doesn't dissolve also, it will remove off the extra necessary, or what is not necessary, that mala is being expelled out, right? So this is with respect to the Sandra as well as the Drava Guna. So where you have the Sandra Guna, which has got a little amount of viscosity. Now, in brief, the other gunas which were said by Acharya Sushruta, you have the Vyavahi, you have the Vikasi, the Sugandha as well as the Durgandha, which we can include it in Surabhi, the topic of Gandha, and Ashukari, which spreads very fast. So there are two dravyas which are Vyavahi as well as Vikasi. Vyavahi is your many dravyas such as Lavana or Anupana, where you're giving, they have to have a principle of Vyavahi because they diffuse very soon. They spread very soon all over the body, and even before the process of digestion is there, it spreads off very fast. So we can say even a Sukshma Guna is included under the Sukshma Guna because it can reach sooner to the target organs. And you know the properties of Anupana also. So why Anupana is taken after Ahara or Aushadha. So the necessity of it. So you can see it is having a Vyavahi action. Vikasi, generally it should not be given because it reduces your ojas, it reduces your bala, the Vyadhi Kshamatva of a person is reduced. So such as the beaten mat is an example for it. Ashukari, you have seen one of the gunas of Vayu is Ashu. It moves very fast. Right? So some dravyas have the tendency to move very fast. That comes under your Ashukari. So this is just where you can club some of the gunas of Sushruta under the gunas, the 20 gunas which are said according to Acharya Charaka. See, as I had said, it becomes very easy if you are able to understand the Pancha Mahabhutas and each gunas which is related to this. For example, some are having two, such as if you see Manda Guna, it is related to Prithvi as well as Jala. So if you remember this, if you're able to remember this particular chart, if you're able to remember this particular chart with respect to the Pancha Mahabhutas, go to the Pancha Mahabhutas, all your 20 gunas can be put under this particular Mahabhutas. Very easily you can write in your papers the Mahabhuta dominance, right? So likewise, you can understand. And general parameter of Mahabhutas, you already know. How is a Prithvi Dravya? You already know. How is a Jala Dravya? You already know. How is Agni? How is Vayu? How is Akasha? For that, you don't need a medical science. Without a medical science, if you're a keen observer, you have observed how are Dravyas which are having Prithvi dominant, how are Dravyas which are having Jaliya dominant or Agni dominant, right? So with respect to the 20 gunas, if you just highlight it, look at it once or twice, you're able to understand this. Once you're able to understand it, whenever a question comes on Dvandva Gunas, you can add that particular point there. So the definition, the Mahabhuta dominance in this, action with respect to the dosha, dhatus, malas, a little bit of therapeutic indications, as well as an example. So generally this comes for 3 marks. And if it comes for 5 marks, you will be having some 6 gunas or 4 gunas put together. So this is what I had said. Whenever you're studying with respect to gunas, you're seeing it in the form of karmas. So you have, I've just tried to put a chart where some relation, I don't say it's exact, but some relation with those Shadvida Upakramas, and where you can have the other karmas, such as the Guru Guna, generally Brahmana, Lagu Guna is Langana usually, but it can also have a Lekhana as well as a Ropana effect. Shita brings about a Stambhana effect. Ushna has got a Svedana effect as well as a Pachana Deepana effect. Snigdha is a Snehana effect and it can bring about the Kledana. Ruksha has got the Rukshana effect, bringing about a Stambhana. The Manda is the Brahmana or the Poshana, bringing about Shamana. Tikshna is generally having a Shodhana effect. So somewhere Shodhana you have already studied among, there are the 10 types of Langana, among which Shodhana comes under the Langana itself. Sthira brings about a Stambhana as it does the Dharana of the Sharira. Sara is responsible for a movement, so it brings about a prerana activity. Then Mrudu, it brings about a Shlathana activity. Kathina, it has got a Brahmana effect, a Dridhikarana. Actually, Kathina has got a Dridhikarana effect, so you can put it under the Brahmana, whereas Mrudu has got a loosening effect, that is a Shlathana. Pichila, you have already seen it is sticky, so provides a Lepana sort of effect. Vishada has got a Kshalana or a Lekhana sort of effect. Then you have the Shlakshana, where it provides a sort of Poshana or Brahmana, as well as a healing effect, that is a Ropana. Khara, again, like that, as you have seen in Vishada, it has a Lekhana effect. Sukshma, which moves very fast, so Vivarana, as well as you can see, sometimes it can result in the Langhana. Stula, it again provides a Poshana to the Sharira. Sandra is a Prasadana. Drava, it is Vilodana. So likewise, if you study it in the form of karmas, it becomes very easy to understand. Coming to the next, that is a Paradi Gunas. So you know there are 10 Paradi Gunas. So Paradi, so what is the reason for calling it as Paradi? Of course, you know this. One of the reasons are, it starts with the Para, Apara. Now, the Paradi Gunas are also coming under a Samanya Gunas, because these are also used very commonly, especially in a clinical practice for a therapeutic purpose, for preparing of the medications, for preparing any medications, you are using the Paradi Gunas. So your Siddhi Upaya, for the purpose of Chikitsa, for the purpose of research, for the purpose of clinics, you require the Paradi Gunas. Now, the word Para Apara, so you know what is it? Para means Shrestha, Apara is Anshrestha. So anything you're seeing, we generally speak it in the parameter of this is good, this is bad. This is the best, this is the worst, right? So even when you're collecting medications for making a preparation, you have to understand it in the form of what is important, what is unimportant. So this is just an example for para, where you're looking at it with respect to the desha, with respect to the kala, vaya, paka, virya, rasa, and you have the matra. Right? So with respect to the vipaka. So this is just an example for the para, which is again, you'll be seeing it in the text. It is there in the text. So if you're seeing it with respect to the nidanas, you have the nidanas such as Sannikrishta nidanas, where you can include it under the para. Whereas Viprakrishta nidanas, you can include it under apara. You have the pradhana karanas. Some of the rogas have pradhana karanas. Or for a lakshana, for a disease, we say a lakshana which is considered to be pradhana, right? A special lakshana for it. That can be included under your para. Or with respect to the best upakrama. Best upakrama is best chikitsa. If you're going to see with respect to the best chikitsa, when is it to be given? So you're saying in the Vasanta Rutu, Vamana is considered to be the Shrishta chikitsa. Now that is para. For Vata doshas, Teila is considered to be the best Shamana dravyas. This is para, right? So for chikitsa also, you see which is Shrestha, whether it is a Vataja dosha, Pittaja dosha, or the Kappaja dosha. Based on it, you will be looking into what is the most important line of treatment. Now, patient doesn't like that line of treatment, then you go to the second line of treatment. But what is the Shrestha line of treatment is noted. So that comes under the para. Then your Anupana, that also should be Shrestha, right? So that should be the Pradhana one. And regarding the collection of the Aushadas, you always have a time. So next year in Dravya Guna, you will be studying when, in which Rutu you are supposed to collect which part of a plant, right? By the Shrestha, that is, it's having the Shrestha Gunas when collected at that particular Rutu. So that comes under the context of Para. Agra Aushadas. You have got Agra Aushadas, which is said by Charaka. Agra Aushadas, it deals with the Aushadas. So this is regarding para, and once you understand the para, you can understand the apara action also. Yukti. Now this is very important guna, especially for a Vaidya, because he has to plan. You have to plan with respect to the Dusha, Desha, Balakala, Anala, Prakriti. You have to plan, keep on planning. To get a success in treatment, planning is very much required. And when you're planning, you are supposed to see it in these parameters, that is the Dusha, Desha, Balakala, Anala, Prakriti, Vaya, Sattva. Look into all of these parameters. Then based on that, you have to do a sanyoga, you have to take a parimana, you have to go for samskara. So the total planning comes under the yukti, which can also be said in the form of research. So research is also based on the yukti of the particular Vaidya. You refer so many books, you see many clinical habits, there is drishta karmas, you had many practices, and based on it, you go for the research, you prepare a new formulation. The next one is Sankhya, where you have the numbers. So this numbers is a sort of measurement where Ganana is there. You're taking a combination of 2 dravyas, a combination of 3 dravyas, a combination of 2 rasas, 3 rasas, or you're seeing a combination such as Trikatu, Panchakola, where the number is fixed. That comes under the Sankhya, right? So for example, in clinical procedures, you're saying it for the yoga basti. When you're giving basti, how much bastis are supposed to be given? 8, or you have Kala, Yoga, Adi bastis have been said. So this also you have studied in Ashtanga, where the numbers have been said. So that comes under your Sankhya. So coming to the Sanyoga, where there's a combination. So whenever you're doing any formulation, you require the combination of particular things. So that comes under your Sanyoga, which can be Eka Karmaja, Dvikarmaja, as well as Sarva Karmaja. So Eka Karmaja is where only one dravya is active. Dvikarmaja is when both the dravyas are active. You can say a physical combination, whereas Sarva Karmaja can be probably said as a chemical combination. So you're getting all the dravyas are acting together. For example, you're preparing tila tela, you want all the grains of tila, then only you can attain the tila tela, right? So such combinations of dravyas come under the Sanyoga, and Sanyoga is in the formation of churnas. You're preparing many churnas based on the Sanyoga concept. Sanyoga has also been said when you're explaining regarding the Ahara Rashi. When Rashi has been explained in Ahara, that is Sarvagraha or Parigraha, you can see the concept of Sanyoga there. Viruddha Ahara also. You're doing a combination of certain Aharas, it can result in Viruddha Ahara. So that is why, that's the reason you're supposed to look into it, look into the Gunas and give the combination. Many formulations are also based on the Sanyoga concept. So either it is a Sanyoga or the next one, that is Vibhaga. So all your preparations can be either of Sanyoga combination or it can be because of the Vibhaga. You're separating 2 things. So you are having again 3 forms where there is a Vibhakti, you're breaking up 2 things. So you're having a stick and breaking into many small pieces of stick, that becomes Vibhakti, right? So this is where we make a coarse powder or a fine powder. You're having a Vibhakti of it. Viyoga is again a separation where if you're seeing in a physical parameter, Eka Karmaja, Dvikarmaja as well as Sarva Karmaja. Eka Karmaja where one is moving away, Dvikarmaja where 2 are moving away, Sarva Karmaja where all are moving away. So this is more in a physical parameter when you're saying with respect to the Viyoga. So if you even if you're seeing with the preparation, if you're taking one drug away, it becomes the Eka Karmaja, Dvikarmaja where 2 or 3 more drugs are removed. The Sarva Karmaja, you're removing the entire preparation from the chart. So that is a Viyoga. And Bhagashograha. This is one which we use in clinical practice where you're giving a particular person churna, you're dividing it into different bhagas, you're dividing into different doses, and you're giving a particular person. So Bhagashograha is dividing, making a bhaga of something. Even while intaking, many times you make a bhaga, you make a division. This much rice I'm going to eat, this much roti I'm going to eat, likewise. So that comes under your Bhagashograha. So any vibhagas, any separations, can be in the form of vibhakti, can be in the form of yoga, can be in the form of bhagasho graha. Okay, coming on to the next one is the prithakva. So the word meaning of prithakva means which distinguishes. Something which distinguishes, right? So this is very important because prithakvata helps in the differential diagnosis. So you have to differentiate between 2 things, 2 diseases. So you use this prithakva concept. There are things which can never be joined together. They are totally different. That is your asanyoga, where things are totally different. You can never join them together. If you want to mix water and oil, it is not possible at all. Their viscosities are totally different, right? Somewhere you will see the oil floating, or you can see the water droplets. For the oil, if you're putting water, you can see the water in the form of round circles. Vailakshanya is you have certain differences with respect to the different jatis, right? Whereas anekata is in the same jati itself. So you are having total urad dals, you're having the urad with you. Each dal of urad are different. You might feel it as the same, but they are different. That is said as anekata. So it can be in the form of asanyoga, or it can be in the form of vailakshanya, or it can be in the form of anekata. So a difference is noted. right? So that distinguishing factor is very much necessary. And if you see in medical science or therapeutic science, this Prithaktva comes, you are making a guduchi preparation. You can make it out of swaras, you can make a swarasa of it, you can make a churna of it, you are making a kashaya of it. So the same dravya, which is used in different parameters, that comes under the Prithaktva. Coming to the next one, that is Parimana, which is a measurement, and Parimana is highly used. The entire Vimanasthana of Charaka Samhita deals with the Parimana itself, where you're using Mana Paribhasha. The entire Mana Paribhasha has been said. So while preparing the different formulations, you're using the Parimana. The Ahara Matras, you're looking into the Parimana. The Bheshaja Matra, again you're looking into Parimana. How much of Vyayama should be done? Again comes under Parimana. How much Nidra should be done? Parimana. What is the Pramana Sharira? So you have all students who have studied anatomy. So the Pramana Sharira is very well known to all of you, right? So when you're looking into all these factors, there is a measurement. Even your Ayurveda itself deals with Mana, right? So that comes under your Parimana itself. So you have studied the Mana, where you studied there can be a quality life or quantitatively you're measuring something. So that comes in your definition also. Samskara. This is a topic, it's a very huge topic where you will be learning in detail in Vaisheshika Kalpana, that's the next year, second year. Samskara are procedures. You're doing certain procedures, right? You're using karanas and doing certain procedures, but the properties of it can be changed. Gunantaradhanam. The properties of it can be changed. You're having either with the Toya Sanikasha, or Agni Sanikasha, or Shaucha Mantana. For example, all of you cook rice, right? We don't eat the raw rice. What do? You soak it in water. When you soak it in water, it becomes a little lagu, right? So again, when you're giving fire to it, cooking with the water on a fire, you can see it becomes further lagu. Then only you can eat that particular rice, right? So you are seeing a change of properties which comes under samskara. Samskara can be seen as a change of properties even in a human being. You are given some practices by which you can see there is a character change that also comes under your samskara. There is a change with respect to your gunas. Either it can be to the person, it can be with respect to the dravyas. So from the collection till its preparation, its usage, its dosage, everything can come or be included in samskara. For example, asavarishta, immediately you prepare an asavarishta, you don't give to the person. It has to be stored for a certain period of time by which there is a change of gunas. That also is a samskara. So the entire method of collection, preparation, storage and usage, everything comes under the principle of samskara. Then the last is the abhyasa, where we had already seen the guna definition itself is abhyasa, something which is done on a regular basis for the perfection, for the purpose of perfection, right? So Sheelanam Satata Kriya, which is done every day. You're reading every day. It is inbuilt within your mind. You're able to put it out in your papers. Now you read it only once a full moon day or once in a month, a particular topic, everything has disappeared. Why? There was no abhyasa. So abhyasa is the one which makes something inbuilt within a particular person. So you or the gunas become inbuilt in the particular dravya. Abhyasa has been explained with respect to Vyayama. You can explain it with respect to the Sanyoga, with respect to the Samskara, with respect to Ahara Vihara, where you have already studied in Ashtanga in the form of Nitya Ahara. So this becomes homologous to you, right? So Satmya, the concept of Satmya, the concept of Okasatmya, that is where certain dravyas you get habituated by the intake of it. And some of the dravyas which are responsible for the Sharira Dhatu Vriddhikara Bhavas. All this is based on the concept of Abhyasa. Also, Abhyasa is one of the gunas. If you do remember in Smriti, 8 Karanas of Smriti. Among the 8 Karanas of Smriti, you have Abhyasa. So therefore, that's the reason why I said if you read it daily, it becomes a habit and it is a guna which develops within you. When you're writing your papers, everything will come out automatically. So this was regarding the Paradi Gunas. So coming to the last gunas, the last classification of the gunas, the Atma Gunas. So these Atma Gunas, the name itself has come as Atma because it's Adhyatmika. They are the spiritual gunas. So as I keep asking why are they called so? They are the Adhyatmika Gunas, which takes you on the spiritual level. See, we are all bounded with all these gunas, right? So we have to come above this for attaining sadhutva, which is sometimes very difficult. Anyway, you have got the gunas, Here, there are the 6 ones. So, Icha, Dvesha, Sukha, Dukkha, Prayatna, as well as Buddhi. Icha, Dvesha. We are all bounded with Icha and Dvesha. You want something. You don't get it. Still want it. Right? So, that is your Icha. There's a desire. Of course, sometimes desires should be good. So, that's why you have 2 types of Ichas. The Phala Icha as well as the Upaya Icha. Phala Icha is you have done an activity and you wait for the results. Right? You have written your exams. Yes, I've written my exams very well. Now let me wait for my results. That is your Phala Icha. You are having an expectation from it. That is a Phala Icha. Whereas Upaya Icha is different means of attainment. There is some difficulties. So you want to do something so that you can please either yourself or someone else. Right? So you are doing a yajna, Deva Vipashre Chikitsa has been said. So many of you wear manis. Why do you wear manis? You do not know the benefits of it, but you have an itcha so that you become a better person. So you try to improve yourself. So that is said as Upaya Icha, where you plan. You plan out things so as to improve either yourself or the self or the universe, the locality. Again, you have the 2 forms, Chikirsha as well as Jihirsha. Any Icha is done for 2 purposes. Either for survival, that is Chikirsha, you have to do it. Because you have to survive, you have to do it. So that is an Icha. Whereas Jihirsha is you want to win. I want to win. And that is the reason why you're working hard. Right? So 2 purposes. Your Icha has 2 forms. You have got to do it or you do it for the purpose of winning. This is your Icha. Whereas Dvesha is hatred. And this Dvesha is the one which leads to Krodha, which leads to Droha, where you will be troubling others, which leads to Manyu, that is, you want to take a hidden revenge on something or someone, and Akshama, you have this capacity of intolerance. You're not able to wait for a period of time because you keep waiting, when will I trouble someone, such type of attitudes that comes under the Desha. So there is a fury within you, which brings about a feeling of intolerance, and Amarsha, you're not able to accept the failures. See, Icha is you do a work and you are not bounded. So of course in Phala Icha you're bounded, but when you're having Icha and Dvesha, they move together. So whenever there is an Icha, there's a Dvesha also. So if you see failures, your Icha is shattered and you might have a Dvesha. You might find the reasons why these failures are there. So Icha, Dvesha, Sukha Dukkha. So we generally say this in lame language. Sukha Dukkha is highly used, and even in medical paramology, medical language, we use the word Sukha for Arogya and Dukkha for Anarogya. Right? So Sukha is again of 2 types, which again you have studied. So it's a temporary happiness or it can be an absolute happiness. So now Sukha or Dukkha is also bounded with the Icha or the Dvesha. They're also interrelated with the Icha as well as the Dvesha. A temporary happiness is when your Ichas are fulfilled, you are very happy. And absolute is when you're not bounded with this. A non-attachment to any of the things. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you have seen lots of quotes where there's a non-attachment. So non-attachment to all of your karmas can result in an absolute happiness. So generally, all types of happiness, whenever you are happy, it gives a sort of satisfaction. You all have felt it. When you feel you have succeeded in doing a particular work, when you are having some appreciation from someone, there is a satisfaction which you feel. So that comes in Sukha. Dukkha is the opposite of it, and Dukkha is the one which troubles all these different parameters such as Manas, Deha, Indriyas, and it is said to be a Pratikula Vedaniya. Again, this can be Tatkalika. So you can see it for an instant. Someone has said something harsh to you. Parusha words have been used to you. So immediately you will feel a little bad. And sometimes it's a result of certain things, a transformation. Sometimes it's an external stimulus, or sometimes when something what you like very much has been lost. So Manorarthika. So there's a different Pratikula Vedaniya, or the Aihika Dukkha, which is Tatkalika as well as Parinamaja. Then Vaiseṣika as well as Manorarthika. These are 2 classifications, as well as the most commonly used Dukkha, which we use in medical terminology for the Karana of the Rogas, Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, as well as Adidevika. So this is being said by Sankhya, Tattva, and we use this for, and Sushruta has said a lot regarding this type of Dukha, which is the Karana for most of your rogas. Now coming to the Prayatnas. So Prayatna is an effort. So either it's in the form of Nivriti or in the form of Pravriti. Pravriti is through a desire, and Nivriti is in the form of a hatred. You're doing some action, and some of the actions are involuntary ones which need to be done for the purpose of your jivana. Now, regarding buddhi, there's lots to speak on buddhi. We all are bounded with buddhi. It comes under the dhi. And you know, buddhi is the one which is responsible for our prajna, for our shreshta jnana. The word prajna itself means shreshta jnana, for you to know what is right and what is wrong. It comes under the mahatattva. It is the one which is responsible for jnana. For all the vyavaharas, any profession, you require buddhi. If you are seeing with respect to indriyas, you have the indriya buddhi, you have the manasika buddhi. The buddhi is the one which is can be classified under the smriti as well as anubhava, and the buddhi is the one where you have the dhi, dhriti and the smriti functioning fine. If not, it can result in prajna aparada, the karana for the rogas. So if you see the Atma Gunas, where do you use this Atma Gunas? Atma Gunas has been explained in Ayurveda when speaking on Achara Rasayana. You have the principle of Sadvritta, which you have studied in Ashtanga, in which you have one of the parameters is Achara Rasayana. What has to be followed with respect to your Acharas, right? For living a proper, a comfortable, a good life, what are the things to be followed? How can you be good in the society? So that comes in your Achara Rasayana. When you're explaining regarding prajna, as I've already said, buddhi, when explaining regarding prajna, again you require these Atma Gunas because you should not be bounded too much with sukha, dukkha, adi, ichha, dvesha, adi. In buddhi, you can include all of these factors. And when you're seeing with respect to sukha and dukkha, this is the karana where you name roga, arogya as sukha, and anarogya of any types comes under the heading of dukkha itself. So you can see how it is being utilized in our medical science. Now coming to the last slide, nearly the last. So the importance of gunas as said in your textbooks. So we have the number of gunas compared to all the rasas, compared to the viryas, vipakas, everything. You see the number of gunas are 41. They are maximum in number because all of them, whether it is a rasas, whether it is a vipaka, whether you're for any prayoga, for any pharmaceutical action, for anything you're speaking, even regarding a person you're going to speak, or regarding any dravya, any aushadha dravya or ahara dravya you're going to speak, you always speak with respect to the gunas. We generally speak with respect to the gunas. Based on the gunas only, you will be having an action, that is karma, and the vishaya bahulata. You're able to understand whether something is mrudu, whether something is pichila, something is lakshana, something is khara, is based on the gunas. So you can see the utility of the gunas in all the parameters. As I said, for karya karana siddhanta, you have a karana, you have a karya. That is the next slide. So where in Ayurveda you can use it in brief again. So when you're explaining the gunas, you look it into the dosha gunas. The dosha gunas, where you have all the Gurvadi Gunas, we have already seen the Vata Gunas, the Pitta Gunas, Adi. When you're seeing with respect to the Sartha Gunas, you have the different parikshas. And when you're speaking on the other, that is the, whether it is the Sartha Gunas or the Gurvadi Gunas or the Atmadi Gunas, you can see in the Trisutra Ayurveda, the Trisutra Ayurveda is Hetu, Linga, Aushadha. So when you're explaining the Karanas, you say, I have eaten Ruksha Ahara, I have eaten Guru Ahara, I have gone out in the sun where it was very hot. So Ushna, right? So you always speak with respect to the Gunas. So that is the Karanas. And when you're seeing with respect to the Hetus, the Lingas, when you see with respect to the Lingas, you see there is an increase of Rukshata, there is increase of Snigdhata, right? So you see in that particular aspect, that is the Karya, that is the Lingas or the Lakshanas. The Lakshanas are also understood with the respect to the Gunas itself. And when you're coming with respect to the Aushadas, the preparation of Aushadas, you look into this. It has got a Vishada quality, or it has got a Pichila quality, it has got a Ushna quality, or a Tikshna quality, or a Shita Guna Yuktaha. Based on the Viryas, you're giving the Aushadas, or based on the Vipakas, you're giving the Aushadas. everything is based on the guna principle itself. Even when you're explaining the Asatmi Indriyartha Sanyoga, this is either on the basis of Satha Gunas or it is based on the Gurvadi Gunas. When you're going to explain the Prajnaparadas, it is mainly based on the Atmadi Gunas. So, starting from the collection of the drug, the selection of the drug, the administration of the drug, the storage of the drug, everything is based on the Paradi Gunas. Various combinations, Sanyoga or the Vibhaga, they also come under the Paradi Gunas. The differential diagnosis of a particular disease, that is the Prithakva, comes under the Paradi Gunas. When you're explaining the Satya or the Rasayana Prayogas, it also becomes an Abhyasa and it is also included under the Paradi Gunas. When you're seeing into the Atmadi Gunas, you understand the concept of Achara Rasayana, Medhya Rasayanas. So many of the Manasika Roga Karanas for which you refer the Atmadi Gunas. So thus, if you refer the text when you are going in the future classes with respect to any of the concepts, you will be looking into the Gunas. So Guna concept starting from first year up to the completion of your internship, and later as a layman, as a Vaidya, you will be always explaining in the form of Gunas itself, right? With respect to the doshas and with respect to the malas, with respect to their karmas. So this is what we have, the applied aspect of the Gunas in brief. So now as students, what you need to study. So I have already said you, as we were dealing with respective Gunas, what is very important for you. Of course, everything is there in the textbook. You can refer the text. In the slide, we have just formed a very basic model, what was put it in the slides. So first thing what you're supposed to know, the common questions asked is the Guru definition, importance of learning the Gunas. So you have to know why you have to learn the Gunas. That's the reason why all these points have been highlighted in today's session. The individual Gunas, like a group that you have the 4 groups, any of the 4 groups can come for 5 marks. Gurvadi Gunas, generally any of the Gurvadi Gunas, Dvandvaja Gunas are asked in your papers. The importance of Shariradi Gunas and the Paradi Gunas in Ayurveda, this is a common question asked in your papers. For clinical trials, why do you require it, or how is it useful in Ayurveda? These are points which you're supposed to know. The Atma Gunas, what are they and why they are very much required in Ayurveda? And as I keep saying, whenever you're studying the Gurvadi Gunas, it becomes very easy to relate it. When you imagine things, when you are able to experience some of the things, some easy examples can be taken, you can experience it and understand it in the form of Dvandva. Then you can write it in your papers. Then I have already said you where, in the context of all the particular Gunas, what is the points to be pondered on, what are the points to be looked on, and how you're going to study. So with this, I have completed my description on the Gunas. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the support you have given me, and thank you for giving me such a good opportunity to speak on this. Thank you, Hema ma'am, for personally contacting me at every time, irrespective of the day. She had contacted me, and she's taking a lot of pains along with all the other staffs doing all the indirect work. Thanks for the opportunity for me to speak on this. Yes, and if any doubts, please let me know.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. It is a very wonderful session we have, and I hope students also followed all the things and pursued the things. And
Yes,
now
sir, I
it
hope
is.
so. And
Yes, tell me, madam.
And yes, sir, whenever they have any doubts, they can always contact me regarding this topic.
Yes,
Even now.
Okay, so now it is to all the students. If you have any doubt regarding the Guna Vignyaniya, which is nicely covered by madam, if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. No, only you can ask one by one. Any question from the students?
Students are highly confused, I suppose, sir. because this is a topic which is always a little bit more confusing, and there's lots to speak on this particular topic.
Yes, madam. Yes.
So they can always drop me a question anytime.
Okay.
You can give my number to them, or through Hema madam or anyone else, they can send me any questions and I can message them later. So that is also fine.
Okay, that also can be done,
Otherwise,
madam.
all of you are very...
Yes, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yes, madam. That also can be done at any time. Still, they have time for their exams. Within that, they got any doubt, they can be done. Okay, some more.
And you're all experts.
Okay,
You're all
madam.
experts in that, sir. So that is why I don't so there's
Still,
any doubts in this.
still, few things I want to share as a teacher of Padartha Vignyana on your session, madam. And the session you made is it is a very wonderful session. And whatever the classically told things are there, that you put in the form of simple words, so that first year students can easily understand them. So what I advise to all the students is, if they keep the textbook and whatever told by the madam, keep aside, and whatever told in classical things are simplified in her slides, especially Dvandva Gunas, because as a teacher, when we start Gunas and when we tell to the students that there are 41 Gunas and we have to study each and every Guna, then by listening this word only students gets it's very much vast topic.
Yes,
But you have very much simplified the topic, and in the classical manner you simplified the topics. That's really worth praising your effort, madam. And I also felt personally it's a very good session and informative session to the students. And I also asked the students to take the benefit of this session and the slides, whatever shared by the madam. And more interestingly, madam has also written textbook on Padartha Vidyana. You can also refer that one. And moreover, if you have got any doubt, you can contact your teachers like me, Hema madam, as well as to the madam also you can contact. Okay, still any doubts? Still few minutes you can have for interaction from the participants. Feel free. Anybody want to share their views regarding this session or doubts? Students, please open up.
Hello, ma'am. This is Hema, ma'am. Ma'am, please drop your email ID in the chat box so that if they are having any doubts, later they can email you.
Okay,
In
right.
the chat box, please drop your email ID. If someone wants, please they can contact you.
Yeah, ma'am. Right, definitely.
Okay, ma'am, you can drop your email ID. And one more small doubt I have regarding. Hello, madam. Am I audible? Shubha,
Yes, sir.
madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just sent my email ID. It is shubhashubs@gmail.com.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
you can give me questions. Yeah.
Okay, we'll also share it through group also, madam, to our students. And one more small doubt from the student side, madam. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, madam. Okay. In the exam, if they ask sometime like Vaiseṣika Guna,
Yes.
there is some confusion. Vaiseṣika Guna means is it told by the 24 qualities of Vaiseṣika Darshana or 5 qualities of Sartha Gunas? So how the students should understand and present their answers according to you?
Sir, we actually what we see is when we're evaluating our papers, we see it more with respect to Ayurveda. And when we see with respect to Ayurveda, I think the better answer would be the Vaiseṣika or the Atma Gunas. That would be a better answer. But when we are giving marks, as we have gone for valuation, and when we're giving marks, for students, many times they write both the answers. So that is also fine. If they have the time, they can write both the answers. But more preferability would be given to the Atma Gunas, because it is more related with Ayurveda than compared to the Vaiseṣika Gunas, because you're using those, utilizing those Gunas only for the purpose of Ayurveda. I think that would be a better answer when you're writing on a Vaiseṣika Gunas.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. So from students, anything else? Anybody want to share any views regarding this session? Madam has enthusiastically presented the complicated topic.
Thanks to you, sir. Thanks to all of you. I think no one is having any doubts at present. So slowly they might get it.
Means they have understood in a better manner, we feel, but still we have given two options are there, isn't it, madam? Okay, we will go for the
based on what they have done of Guna, they might be able to ask me questions.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
thanks.
Okay, ma'am. So if no doubts are there, then I think we can end the session. Thank you very much, madam, for your nice session on behalf of SJG Ayurvedic Medical College Institute and our principal sir, and from the Department of Sanhita Siddhanta, Hema madam, and HOD of Sanhita Siddhanta, from all I say thanks to you, madam, for the nice session.
Thanks to all of you, sir, because you're doing a very good activity. I think I have to learn from all of you because you're doing a very good activity for the students, and because the students many times when they see the same staff's face and the same staff's voice, they bored. So somewhere they're having a change. So this I should learn from you, and I think I should also do that now. Thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to speak this particular topic. When actually Hema madam, when she asked me, I said, Guna, I was like, my God, it's a very huge topic. I try to compress it. Thanks a lot for the opportunity given by all of you. A very good effort from all of you, and all the best for all your ventures. The sessions, I think you have done very well. Hema ma'am, she said the sessions gone very well. So a hearty congratulations to the whole team. Thanks a lot.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, 1 second.
Hema madam, you want to say something?
Yes. Okay. Ma'am, we got your message from the student. One student asked, what to write Guna for 10 marks? Which points we should definitely write for 10 marks?
Yes, yeah, because this is a very huge topic, so you can't put everything in 10 for the 10 marks question. So first thing is the introduction, where you have to write the importance of the Guna. That is the definition, Nirukti, definition, the Lakshanas, everything with respect to the Gunas. The Bhedas of the Gunas, that is very important. After that, in brief, you don't have to write in detail. In brief, those are Artha Gunas. Put a chart when you're dealing with the Gurvadi Gunas, because when you're putting it in the form of charts with the headings, within 2 sheets, you can, 2 papers, the entire Gurvadi Gunas in brief again. And as I've already pointed out in the chart also, the Paradi Gunas can also be put in a chart where you have to just highlight with the definitions and the Atma Gunas. So everything in brief. With the last, you have to end it with the importance of the Gunas in Ayurveda, because that is a very important point whenever you're highlighting any point, whether it's for 5 marks or whether it's for 10 marks, you have to highlight what is the importance of that particular topic in Ayurveda. So that has to be highlighted again in brief. So whatever has to be written, the entire thing, instead of writing in detail, instead of writing like you have the different Vedas and all those, instead of that, you can just write what is it. Like, for example, Shabda, what are the different types of Shabda, done. So you can just finish it. You can make art for it also. All the 5 in 1 page. The Gurvadi Gunas, 2 pages, entire thing comes. Then you have the Paradi Gunas, again in 1 page or 2 pages, because there are 10 Gunas, so 5 plus 5, you can put it in 1 page. And then finally, it's the Atma Gunas, which again you can put in 1 page. So likewise, in brief, you have completed in your paper, right? So that can be done. I think the student who has asked this probably could analyze what is meant by brief.
Yes, ma'am, they got the answer. Yes.
Okay. Still any more questions from the students? Madam, still any more questions are there?
No, sir. No questions.
No questions. Okay. Okay, madam. So it's a very nice session, and we are thankful to you for this session. And in future also, we expect active support for our students. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you.
From
Have
our
a nice day.
institute.
All of you have a nice day. All the best for the future sessions. Thank you.
Okay, madam. Okay, we'll end the session.